Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Good evening, friends. How's everybody? Good evening. It's Sunday. It's the evening. We're gonna look at some army lists, like we do every Sunday. Good evening. Welcome. Blood Angels Chaplain and Terminator Armor. He's always here. Good evening. Highland Phoenix, how you doing? Nathan, what's happening? Dirty Wizard, nice to see you. Nick, Jasper, Adrian, hello everybody. Cool, a lot of developments in 40k this week. A lot of new rules being released in 10th edition. I hope you watched my video about 10th edition that I released on Friday. I'm going to have another 10th edition video coming out this week. I haven't started it, but I will be starting it tomorrow night, and I will plow, I don't know, however many hours it takes to get through everything that he talked about last week. Damien, what's happening? Good evening. Peter's here. Benny says he's new to Blood Angels. Any advice would be welcome. Welcome to the chapter, Benny. If you search the channel, the YouTube channel, for I don't know if I've got a getting started video for a while, but there's definitely a couple of 1,000-point army list videos on there you could start with. Also, the new Commander Dante comes out next week. If you don't have him, probably going to be worth getting him, so maybe that's where you should start. Get Commander Dante. He's going to be like $27. Comes out on Saturday. He's up for pre-order now, I guess. Good place to start if you're thinking about starting Blood Angels. Okay, let's get straight into it. We've got 4 lists to look at tonight, and list number 1 comes from, let me check, Warhammer 58. Okay. We've also got Kevin, Kiefer, Jasper, and Terrence Watkin up for their lists tonight. Okay. So, cool. Here it is, Warhammer 58. You finally got some Sangre Guard. Cool. I was actually looking at my Sangre Guard today. I think I've misplaced some of my Sangre Guard. I thought I had 25, which arguably is the canon number of Sangre Guard. Like there's 25 Sangre Guard in the canon. But I thought I had slightly more. I thought I had like 27 or 28. Because I have 2 Sangre Ancients. Anyway, let's have a look at this list. So we're starting with 5 CP. And 2,000 points. We've got Voidsman at Arms. I was going to say it's 4 with las guns and 1 with the rotor cannon. Cool. We got Primaris Chaplain on a bike with the aura of Feel No Pain Against Mortals, Reroll All Hits, Rites of War, and Visage of Death. So an obsec nonsense chaplain. It'll be really interesting to see. I think Rites of War and Visage of Death are going to be gone completely in 10th edition. I think they're just going to be replaced with that objective control marker. Objective control marker? Objective control... you know what I'm trying to say. Objective control value that you see on everybody's stats lines now. And then you've got the Sangre Priest with no jump pack and Armor Indomitus, which is an interesting choice. I guess he's advancing around doing his Assault Doctrine stuff. You got 2 squads of Infiltrators with Helix Gauntlets. You got 5 Blade Guard. I talked about Blade Guard recently, saying that I feel like the best size for Blade Guard are 3s. And that's why I was painting more Blade Guard, because I think I've got 8. So I think I need to get 1 more box, unfortunately, just to get me my 9th Blade Guard. I don't know the squad size of Blade Guard in 10th edition yet, and I guess that will be the question. You got Brutalis Dreadnought with the double multi-meltas. We have 5 Death Company with a bunch of Power Swords and Power Fists and all Infernal Pistols. You got 5 Sangre Guard all Infernal Pistols. We got 5 more all Infernal Pistols. We got Terminators with a mix of Lightning Claw and Thunderhammers. We've got an Assault Squad with Chainswords, Combat Shield, Infernal Pistol, Thunderhammer, and then a couple of Plasma Pistols. You know you get Meltas for free now. I'd probably be tempted to take the Meltas on the Assault Squad myself. You got 1 squad Eliminators with Las Fusils and Quake Bolts. You've got Whirlwind with the Stormbolter, and then you've got Gilman bringing up the Lord of War slot. Okay. Interesting list. It's like, I was going to say it's similar to my list, but it's a more combat heavy, a more melee combat heavy list with Gilman, which is cool. I haven't tried this myself. I don't have 10 Sanguinary Guard with Infernal Pistols, but I mean, 5 Sanguinary Guard, a 5-man squad with Infernal Pistols is pretty good. Unfortunately, I made a load of my guys with Angelus Bolters. 1 Dreadnought, but it's kind of the melee Dreadnought. The Voidsman at Arms to help you score secondaries. Starting on 5 CP is really nice. I mean, you could almost mastercraft like your Terminator Sergeant's Thunderhammer, or you could give the Sergeant Lightning Claws and get one of those Lightning Claws mastercrafted. That would be cool. I think there's value in there. So your Quake Bolts, Rites of War, Visage of Death, Armor Indomitus. Thing is, I don't know about Armor Indomitus on the Priest. If the Priest's on foot, does he need Armor Indomitus? Good evening, Jim. How are you? All right. Fullhammer says, "Hi, Blood Angels Commander. I've run this list a few times and found it really fun, but it would be interesting to see how it could be tweaked to be more effective. Gilman is great in a Blood Angels army. I found his extra boost for advance and charge really makes most of the units which are coming out of strategic reserves and deep strike, or who need to foot slog up the table. I feel like it makes units like Blade Guard much more viable. I know you're not a fan of 5-man Blade Guard, but I think the 3-man squads don't offer enough protection for Lookout Sir. I mean, I guess you could argue that if you want to, yeah, a good argument, I guess. If you've got the Priest and the Blade Guard and Gilman, and you think that's good, that can definitely work. I've included the Brutalis Dreadnought mainly because it's a lot of fun to play with and recognize its fragility. This lists the damage output of Thunderhammer Death Company or the shooting attack of bikes, but I feel the Brutalis can do a little bit of both. Yeah, I think you'd have to reserve the Brutalis. I was actually thinking about the Brutalis Dreadnought today because I've got one of them sitting in the box. I need to get round and make it. I have a few more units I need to hurry up and finish painting. I usually begin with the Brutalis, the Voidsman, the Assault Squad, and Terminators in reserve. Occasionally I've been placing a unit of Sanguinary Guard in reserve as well. The cool thing about running Gilman means you get so many CP. You can actually sit the Voidsman... You could start the Sanguinary Guard on the board and play Wings of Fire with 1 CP in turn 1 if you really need to. Whereabout in the world are you, Blood Angels, Chaplain, and Terminator Armor? Because that depends, where you are depends on where you can pre-order it. The main secondaries I'm going for is Retrieve Battlefield Data, and that's why you've got Voidsman, Arms, and Assault Marines. You're going to go Shock Assault or behind enemy lines, which is also cool. I've had some success with Oaths, but I feel like that's almost entirely dependent on when I go first. Yeah, Oaths definitely benefits you going second, and you'd be interested to hear my thoughts. If you're in Britain, you can order it from Games Workshop or Element Games. There's a link in all my video descriptions to Element Games, and Element Games will give you like 20% off if you use my link. I think it's £27 in the UK, but maybe it's down to 22 if you use the Element Games link. Okay. So, what would we change here? What could we change here? The 5-man Blade Guard are going to provide Gilman with Lookout Sir, and potentially the Priest is there without a jump back to Feel No Pain them. It doesn't have a Hammer Death Company squad. I guess that's the one thing that stands out to me as like a little bit annoying. Like, in my list at the moment, I run 1 squad of Infernal Pistol Death Company like this, and then I run the 5 Hammer Death Company, and then the 5 Infernal Pistol. And I think there is enemies. I'm trying to think, what else have I got that can kill? Like, he's got the Brutalis Dreadnought, which brings like 4 multi-melta shots and then a ton of melee damage. While I have a Terrax, which brings 5 melta shots, a couple of flamers, which probably actually... The Terrax probably has very similar firepower to the Brutalis. And the Brutalis is probably better in melee. But the Terrax might be more survivable because it's toughness 8. And then inside the Terrax I have things that let reroll charges and give it a bunch more shots and stuff like that. PM covers. Hello, how you doing? Jimmy, good evening. So, I think the one thing that I see would be, as much as 2 squads of Sangre Guard with Infernal Pistols is nice, running Gilman, he's so expensive, he's gonna eat up some of your points. So the choice here is to swap one of these out for 5 Thunderhammer Death Company. If you feel like you need a 5 Thunderhammer Death Company, and I think a 5 Thunderhammer Death Company gives you an amazing Forlorn Fury threat. If you want that threat, then I think it's worth having that. If you need some extra points, you could always run a squad of Intercessors with the Mine. That's fine. I'd probably run the Meltas in the Assault Squad because they're free. Quake Bolts is nice on the Eliminators for sure. I was actually thinking you would be running like something different from Visage of Death. I don't run Visage of Death. If it was me, I was going to say, is Vox's Spiritum needed, actually? Probably not. I'd probably run the Armor Indomitus on the Chaplain. Use him as an angel sacrifice, because he's on 8 wounds at that point. And just have the Priest with no Warlord trait or relic. I usually find Rites of War is enough, unless you're playing a lot of Knights. I usually find Rites of War is enough, or I guess like double Obsec Necrons or double Obsec Votan. I do think that most of the time, Visage of Death is not needed. But I guess it depends on what's in your meta, what you're used to playing with. I think it'll have value in like 2 or 3 matchups, but it's a bit like trying to think. Soul Warden is similar to Soul Warden, right? Like Soul Warden will have an amazing strength in like some matches, but in other matches it has literally no value. And it always seems like if you include Soul Warden, it has no value. If you don't include it, you're going to definitely need it. So I suppose it depends on how high, what the meta looks like and how high you rate this. I think it's kind of irrelevant though, because this is going to disappear. Like this is going to be gone, I think, in 10th edition, which is going to be like 8 weeks away or something. I think that's about it. I don't think I can improve much more of it. I think the Thunderhammer Death Company are probably needed. I felt they are needed in this list. And my list looks very similar to this. Rather than a Priest, I have a Tech Marine. Rather than the Chaplain, I have a Chapter Master. Rather than the Brutalis and Eliminators, I've got like Stern Guard and a Terrax. But it's cool to see, like, the reason I sort of went with the Stern Guard, I feel like, and the Terrax and the Gladiator Reaper, is because World Eaters. And just World Eaters just came out. I knew they were in my meta. I knew that there was multiple people playing them at the tournament I went to. And I know that they just basically eat Blood Angels alive in combat. And even if you manage to make the charge on them, which is actually pretty difficult to do because half the time they're charging you, or half the time you shoot their units and then they end up in combat with you because they can move every time you shoot them. I felt like a Gladiator Reaper was really useful. So there's definitely something to be said about knowing what's in the meta and like adjusting your list based on what you're seeing. I just think Highlight Phoenix, I don't know any situation. I'm trying to think in like any situation. So you have a Chaplain with a 20-inch move and he's OBSEC. I feel like with a 20-inch move and you're OBSEC, most of the time you would just move him to an objective that makes sense to move him to and OBSEC it away from the enemy, right? Like, removing enemy obsec is cool, but like typically most of the time you don't just move the chaplain onto the objective by yourself, right? You move on to the objective with a squad of Death Company or Sandguard or Terminators or whoever else is there, and then at that point, assuming you kill a few of them, then you control that objective anyway because you have like 5 obsec models on it, right? What do I think about the loss of Artisan 10th edition? I think it's going to help balance the game. War Thunder, I don't know exactly what things are going to look like, obviously, no one does. I think it's going to help with balance quite a lot. You already had like some obnoxious combos. Gilman arguably is an obnoxious combo, right? Like he makes Blood Angels a lot stronger. Good evening, Fox. Good evening, Jackson. If you could squeeze in one more Blade Guard, you could combat squad them. Well, he's going to use the Blade Guard as bodyguards for Gilman in this case, so I think it's okay to have the 5. Yeah. Okay, I think that's a decent. I think it's overall a decent list. I think Gilman lists are super interesting. I hope that they do not remove the ability to use Gilman to help with Blood Angels. It sounds like they're not going to remove him. I guess we'll have to see. Hopefully they keep like his Imperium based buffs rather than like divert him to like a Ultramarines only unit, but I guess we'll find out. So I mean that's why I've not been rushing too heavily to paint my Gilman, and I'm painting everything else because I think by the time I get to go to another tournament, Gilman will essentially be not usable. Alright, next up is Kevin. He is running Commander Dante, so you've got like I guess one more week of him at 165 points, Kevin, and then he's going up 10 points. So you're going to have to find 10 more points to fit him into this list. You've got the Sanguinary Priest with the Chief Apothecary, Armor Indomitus, Selfless Healer. Okay. 3 squads of troops, 2 Intercessors, 1 squad of Infiltrators. We've got the Death Company with 4 hammers. You can change the Bolt Pistol and Chainsword on this guy to something better for free, be it an Infernal Pistol and a Power Sword. You got the Ancient with Rites of War and Wrath of Baal, cool. You've got 7-man Sanguinary Guard with 2 Infernals and another 7 and another 6, 2 Infernals in each of them. I think that's fine, but I honestly think Sanguinary Guard are better probably in 5s right now because anytime people target them without... In the current meta, in the Arcs of Omen meta, there's too much AP in the meta. These guys will just die, and then it won't matter if you've got a 5 or a 7. You've got a 7, they'll still all die based on the 5. So there could be an argument right now for 5-man squads. Like we run 5-man Death Company. Why not run 5-man Sanguinary Guard? The last list we looked at actually had 2 5-man Sanguinary Guard. My list runs 5-man Sanguinary Guard. If you put all Infernal Pistols on them, then I think 5 is a fine number. You've then got 3 attack bikes times 2 with multi-meltas. Interesting. And then you've got a reasonably big size of Inceptors. 4 Inceptors. Inceptors to me are just overcosted. Like if you compare Inceptors to like Sternguard, for example, Inceptors just feel like 60 point a model, averaging 4 shots. Yeah, each model gets 2, so averaging 4 shots, so 16 shots coming out from the squad. So like if you took 2 squads of Sternguard, you could have them all with combi, so you can get 10 plasma shots from 5 Sternguard. Whereas you can get 16 plasma shots from 240 points of Interceptors. I mean, I guess if you roll maximum or you shoot a unit that's going to take maximum number of shots, you get more shots. But Inceptors are just overcosted in my opinion. I don't like plasma because it kills your own models. I don't like Inceptors being... An Inceptor costs more than an attack bike. The Inceptor costs the same amount of points as a Landspeeder, which is mad to me. Like, Landspeeder's toughness 6 with 6 wounds. Inceptor's toughness 5 with 3 wounds. It's literally double the wounds and 1 more toughness, and it's the same points. And I prefer multi-meltas to plasmas. Bobby G is likely to buff Ultramarines only. Yeah, I think he probably will lose some of his Imperium-based buff Silent Phoenix, which will be sad. That's why I guess like I don't recommend you run out and buy Bobby G. I guess people will end up fielding Dante more often now that we've got the new Dante model. Do you think you'll be able to squad up with Sanguinary Guard? I think you'll be able to probably squad up with any Blood Angels jump unit, I imagine. Don't quote me on that. Like, it would make sense if you can just join any jump pack unit, because if you read the recent books, Dante has not been with the Sanguinary Guard much in the recent books, right? Like, on Devastation of Baal, he wasn't with Sanguinary Guard, if I remember correctly. In Darkness and the Blood, he was with, like, Intercessors. You know, he leads everybody, so hopefully Dante can join up with other units. I'm going to be in a bit of a rock and a hard place with the Dante if they don't change his rules for 10th, because I don't like his 9th edition rules all that much. I think his 9th edition rules now are fine. If he was like 150 points, at 175 points, I don't like him. He has got a lot more survivable in some cases, and if they did say they're going to remove a lot of rerolls in the game, so if they remove a lot of rerolls, then potentially his survivability kind of doubles, but we don't know if you'll get transhuman physiology as a strat in 10th. So there's too many ifs and buts about Dante. I've obviously ordered him. A lot of people have ordered him. But it'll be interesting. For 9th anyway, I mean, he is considerably better. I just don't think he's very competitively points costed. If you think of like Calgar being 160 points, who has 8 wounds and half soul incoming damage, which means like against 2 damage weapons, he's twice as survivable as Dante. He has more wounds, he has more toughness. It's kind of crazy that Dante comes in like 15 points more expensive than him. They both have 2 damage weapons, right? It's been a while since I looked at Calgar, but like it's a bit silly. That Dante's 175, if you ask me. Yeah, Calgar's 160. More toughness, more wounds. Same 4-up in Vun. Gives 2 CP rather than Dante's 1. And all damage is halved as well. Oh, I was wrong. He actually does D3 damage. Alright, so he's better. His melee is actually better than Dante. It's more strength. It's the same AP, but it's D3. And D3 is better. Because the reason that D3 is better is if you're fighting a -1 damage target, like a Dreadnought, then 4 of the time, like 4 of the dice rolls, basically the 1s and 3s, are going to do more damage. Because the 1 will never be reduced and the 3 will be reduced to 2. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I like survivable characters. Who knows if we'll even get Angel Sacrifice as well? I mean, we're basing our opinions around thinking we're going to get Angel Sacrifice. We might not even get Angel Sacrifice. That might not be a thing anymore. And if Angel Sacrifice isn't a thing, then that's kind of irrelevant, right? The way I see it, Dante gives us a 7 wound transhuman 4-up character for Angel Sacrifice. Yeah, I mean, mathematically speaking, though, Turkey, I feel like the firstborn chapter master on a bike with armor Indomitus and 7 wounds and toughness 5 is arguably probably more survivable. With if you give him a gift of foresight, then he if there wasn't a new edition coming out, like, I don't know when the new edition's coming out, like 10 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now, 8 weeks from now, who knows? But like, even with Dante's new profile, right? Like T4, 7 wounds, 4-up. The bike chapter master is T5, 7 wounds, 4-up, which can be a 3-up, which can get 2 rerolls. And can get a 5++. I guess Dante can get transhuman, 1 CP, -1 to hit. But I always think -1 to hit is rubbish because you can't affect that, right? Like, typically if you want a character that's going to super survive from Angel Sacrifice, you want to be able to affect as many dice rolls as you can. And I feel like with this guy going on the 3++ with potentially 2 rerolls and a 5 but feel no pain, two rerolls on saving throws of 3 up is very strong. I think and then the other thing is, like, Dante's going to be 175 points. This guy was like 145 points. Yes, this guy's going to eat some CP. But, I mean, like, if you want a character that can just go in, Angel Sacrifice, and live, like, 99% of the time, I think it's this guy. Because you can modify more rerolls. It's sad. I guess I'm going to have to retire my Primaris Bite chapter. I just don't think seeing the new rules for Dante, I don't think we're quite there yet with what I'd hoped for. Alright, so what did Kevin say about this list? I know you're not super sold on Dante. Okay, good. I've just been over why I'm not super sold on him. But this list has been doing pretty well for me. I've only lost 1 game out of 8. I did take this as an RTT and did decent. The only loss against World Eaters. Yeah, I mean, World Eaters are super tough for Blood Angels right now. I've played them 3 times. I have beaten them twice, but yeah, I mean, it's like you need shooting in your list to beat them. He does have shooting. 6 spikes with multi-meltas and plasmas, but I mean, it's still hard. The World Eaters could be on top of you very quickly. Like, in turn 1, they can basically do like 2 Forlorn Furies, right? The usual secondaries are Shock Banners and Oath. Angel Sacrifice and the Priest has kept units alive in most of my games. Okay, interesting choice for Angel Sacrifice against the Priest. Inceptors deal with elites. Bikes have been doing really well as well. I mean, the bikes used to be good at 180 points. So I've not run them since they came down to 150. Bikes were never that survivable. They just smash out a lot of damage. Benefit from Chapter Master rerolls. Benefit from getting into half range very quickly. Benefit from being revived by the Chief Apothecary. So I guess bikes are good. If they don't kill what they shoot, they just end up move blocking. So the Sanguinary Guard can get into the mid-table and the opponent's deployment zone. Interesting to see 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard. So he's got no real durable units in this list. Like, I was going to say, does anything apart from Dante? That's his only invulnerable save in the entire list, actually. Which is all. I've been to a bunch of tournaments where I was like, yeah, Dante's my only. Dante's literally my only invulnerable save in my whole list. So I'm hoping, with the changes to AP, Marines get a lot stronger. I'm kind of hoping Gravis get an invulnerable save built into them. Dante seems a bit better than he was before, says Jasper. He definitely is. He definitely is stronger. I just think he's overcosted. I think it's because I think the Bite Captain's still better than him. So, like, I'm just comparing him point to point against the Bite Captain and going, like, well, I think the Bite Captain is more versatile because he can have Rites of War. And I think he's more survivable as well because he can have either Gift of Foresight or Armor Indominus. And that lets you modify more of your own dice rolls, which technically gives you more chance of survival, I feel. Hello, Dark Ginger. Good evening. Felix, what's happening? Nice changes to Dante's pistol. I like the 9-inch and the extra damage, but I think the beam stuff is going to be quirky at best. Like, as a Blood Angels player, you're trying to get as close to the enemy as you can to make charges. So unless there's an enemy behind the enemy that you actually care about, where you can draw a beam through, I think most of the time you're not going to see much from that beam pistol. Mortarion has that beam pistol, right? And like, I've played Death Guard an absolute shitload of times this edition. One of my main competitors that comes on the channel like every month is Colin. He plays Mortarion, who has a 12-inch pistol. And you draw the line, and I think you can so Colin must have played like 30 games on the channel throughout 9th edition. I honestly think you can count on I would say you can count on one hand. I think you can count on one finger literally maybe once in like 20, 30 games he's been on the channel, I can remember that lantern hitting like 2 targets when he shot it. Like, it's too short a range. 9 inches is 9 inches is really short. Dirty Wizard says, make sure you've got gifted subs turned on. Yeah, guys, if you've never turned on gifted subs, remind me how you do this, because I have a brand account, Dirty Wizard, and I'm not allowed to check it. Or I'm not allowed to accept gifted subs. It's so stupid. I think you go... I think you click, like, down here or something. Isn't it down here? Or maybe you have to click the join button here, underneath the video, and then...
Greetings, brothers. Thank you for clicking.
Thanks for clicking the join button. Yeah, I think if you click the join button, there's like... can I do that without myself speaking? Yeah, I think you click these 3 dots, and I think if you were... Obviously, I can't do it, but you can turn on gifted subs here. I think that's how you do it. If you've never turned on gifted subs, you should turn it on. You should turn it on for every channel you like. Would have liked to see the axe be upgraded, says Felix. I think the axe needed an upgrade, Felix. I think that's the thing that pissed everybody off, is like, we are a melee chapter, so why did you upgrade this pistol in a quirky way that's maybe not going to benefit all that much? Alright, sorry, let me get back to Kevin's list. I mean, it's a very killy list, right? Like 4 jump squads, some infiltrators for deploying, and cursors, the priest and Dante, and then the tap bikes and the scepters. The thing I think right now is, like, we need durable units in this current meta. Thank you so much for coming in with the gifted subs, Adrian. I always appreciate it. I just noticed, Adrian, so you're not a member yourself, but you always give out gifted subs? I didn't think you were allowed to give out gifted subs unless you were a member. That's so random. Okay, why are you not a member, Adrian? Is there a problem or something? You're always giving gifted subs, thank you. The thing is, the biker captain costs CP. Yes, of course he does. As someone who's focused more on collecting a Primaris-focused army, what would you say are good choices for Blood Angels, excluding Blade Guard veterans? You could definitely get some aggressors. They're pretty cool. Incursors / infiltrators are also... They're the Phobos guys. They're very cool. If you're more interested in collecting, like, just Primaris for... Are you going competitive, Jackson? Or are you just going are you just collecting a force to look cool? Dirty Wizard, thank you so much for the gifted subs as well. It's a happy night. Thank you. Appreciate it. Normally don't get very many gifted subs on the army list show, so I appreciate it. Yeah, I was gonna say there's no durable units on this list, which makes me a little worried. Like, he mentioned that you like to go after oaths as a secondary. Well, oaths synergizes brilliantly with durable units. I might be tempted to lose 1 squad of Sangre Guard here. Do you know what? You actually have like 2 elite slots here. So what I might do is lose 210 points to Sangre Guard and take 6 Blade Guard veterans, combat squad them into 2 3-man squads, and then use them to hold objectives or head to the middle of the board and score some oaths. I don't know if we need 3 squads of Sangre Guard right now. Holy shit, it's a gifted sub evening. Welcome everybody. Please make sure you if you're not in our Discord, type !Discord in your in the chat here, and that'll give you a link to the Discord, and then you can get over into our members only room over on Discord. I'm actually in the process, this is completely off topic. Yeah, I'm actually in the process of figuring out some sort of charity raffle that I'm going to do on the channel as well. I think because everybody just did gifted subs right now, it reminded me. So I've got some pretty rare Blood Angels, sort of like... I was going to say I'm going to make a quick video about it. Yeah, I think I'm going to make a quick video about it, so I'm not going to spoiler it. But I've got something that's pretty rare. That's going for well over $100 on eBay. That's Blood Angels related. Probably going for like 150. So I think I'm going to do like a charity gift Don't see many gifted subs. Thank you so much, Carter. I appreciate that as well. So I think I'm going to do some sort of like charity raffle. I've seen a website where you can set a charity and you can just sell tickets for like $1 a time. So rather than like have it go on eBay and get scalped for, you know what? Yesterday when I looked at eBay, and it's honestly disgusting, guys, the scalping that goes on eBay. Like I looked at Lion yesterday, Lion 40k. Yeah, like here's here. Oh my god, look at this. This is disgusting. So the Lion was $65. Here he is. This has got bids on it. 17 bids. He's already. Oh, I'm not going to sign in right now. I actually don't know my eBay password. I always just do text me the one-time code and then I'll sign in. But this is disgusting, right? So like this is basically going 300% retail. Geez, a lot of gifted subs. Thank you so much. That one's got bids on it. Some of these other ones have bids on them as well. Yeah, like this is the Lion's Guard. Bids. $82, but $7,000. 700. Sorry, I thought it said 7,000. Okay. 155. It's got bids. 100. God. They really need a system where people are allowed to fill in what army they like, that they care about the most, into the Warhammer website, and then not let people scalp like this. So yeah, I'm gonna do a giveaway of sorts for charity, and it's gonna be like $1 a ticket, and hopefully it raises some money for charity. So I'm gonna figure that out. I'm gonna make a video in the next couple of months. Are they selling them painted or are they out of stock? Yeah, they sold out. I believe that I heard. I don't know if this is true. I heard that resellers, you know, like I use Element Games in the UK. I heard that resellers were only given. I don't know if this is true. Please don't take me at the word. But I heard that resellers were only given 3 copies of the Lion. So basically, if you weren't the first 3 people on the website to buy it, like if you use a local gaming store, the first 3 people got it, and then beyond that, it's out of stock. I guess you should have, if you were really wanting the Lion, I guess you could have got it from Games Workshop, but I don't know how many stock they had. But it is a bit disgusting how much more they're getting. They're charging. Fortunately, I think Dante still is in stock. When I was on, I did have a look at Element Games yesterday. Is Dante still in stock? No, he's not in stock there now. I noticed on Games Workshop in the UK. I was just having a look around, basically being nosy. The Sanguinary Guard dice were still in stock. These are still in stock, these Sanguinary Guard dice. £22. So if you wanted some, get them now, because I bet you if you go over to eBay and search these, I bet you they're like 40, 50 bucks already. 35, 25, 30. Yeah, so I mean, if you want the if you want the Sanguinary Guard dice, I guess now is the time to grab them, because people are greedy, people are dicks. I don't know how you want to put it. I bought some of the dice, but I wanted to use them on the channel. Please check your Discord DMs, read the raffle. I've offered a sweetener. Alright, well this raffle might be getting even better. We'll check out. I'll tell you what I had planned, Mike, in DMs, and we'll take it from there. Dante is sold out in Canada, says Inks. The dice are so overpriced. Yeah, the dice are pretty crazy, aren't they? I bought them again from the reseller that I use in the UK, so they were a bit cheaper. And the cool thing about Element Games is every time you buy them, they give you credit towards your next purchase. You get like a, was it for every £1 you spend, you get like 10 pence off your next purchase? I can't remember exactly what it is, but hey Miles, yeah, I managed to get the dice, 2 sets of the dice and Dante. I bought some spray because I need some more spray, and I bought something else. I bought some more texture paint because I heard a rumor that GW were stopping making the texture paint. So I bought a couple of pots of that just so I've got some. if they do, because when they stopped making the Null Oil and all that, those prices went crazy. So if they're going to stop making the texture paint that I use for my whole army, I wanted a couple of extra pots of it. I will buy more if there is truth to that rumor, right? A pot of texture paint usually lasts like a year, so I probably have like 2 years, 3 years of texture. Nucking says texture and air paints are on their way out. Wait, you can't buy Null Oil anymore. Yeah, they changed. So yeah, I guess if you want texture paint, I only bought 2 pots. Now that if it's confirmed, then I guess I need next order I need to do, I guess with 10th edition, or maybe even before then, I need to buy like 2 more pots of texture paint. Null Oil, they changed it. So Null Oil is not the Null Oil that you knew and loved and that you've been using for I don't know how many years, like 10 years. It's now basically contrast Null Oil, and it works differently. I didn't want my Null Oil to work differently. So, Felix says he misses the old Null Oil, yeah. Yeah, so they're changing things, and they don't always announce that. And with the Null Oil, I really got fucked, because a pot of Null Oil in the UK is like $3 or $4. People were selling it on eBay for like $10 a pop. And I wanted to have enough Null Oil to last like 5 years, so I think I spent like $50 on Null Oil. I didn't really have a choice. I didn't want my Null Oil to be changed. When it runs out, I don't know what I'm going to do. Dirty Wizard got the dice for $17.50 with the referral link. Thank you so much for the $2. The texture paint is the paint that dries up to looking ground and stuff. Yeah, 100%. The one that I'm using at the moment is I don't know if you'll be able to see that on my camera. It's called Technical, and it's called Armageddon Dust. And now that you've basically confirmed that it's out, I'm gonna check how many pots of this I have. So I just ordered 2 as well. Man, it would be the worst thing in the world to. So you need to go to the link on your phone, Peter. It should be in the chat. It'll just come up in a second. My bot should spit it out. Thank you so much for the $2. Yeah, even at $17.50, the dice are expensive, aren't they? Yeah, so maybe putting some Blade Guard into this list would be good. You could argue a Gladiator Reaper would be good in a list like this. You already have some anti-tank. You ideally, Interceptors are dealing with elites. Gladiator Reapers can deal with elites, probably, in a similar fashion. Maybe not quite as effective, I suppose, against, like, Terminators or whatnot. I'm not a huge fan of Inceptors. I have them myself. Don't use them all that much. And yeah, overall, I mean, the rest of the list is fine, I think. I don't know. I mean, it's nice that attack bites can be revived. The multi-metals on there were good. I'd probably put 1 squad of attack bites into reserves. I think once you've created your account on Discord and you've joined the Discord room, like, if you create your account on the phone, if you then log into your account on the website, Peter, and join the channel or however that works on your computer, you'll then be joined on your account on the phone. So it's like you have your one Discord account and you can join lots of different servers. You probably just need to join once on the PC or phone from that link. Carter, thanks so much for hanging out. Saying click the like button if you're enjoying tonight's stream. I appreciate that. If you do that. Carter, it's nice to see you. I hope you're excited for 10th edition. I should have the boarding actions terrain probably in about a month and a half. It's with the commission artist right now. Cambo says, so John does the deal about winning a tournament with Reapers and Eradicators still stand. What was the deal again? That you were going to win a tournament with 3 Reapers? I think my problem is I don't really want to paint 2 more Reapers, man. I think what might be cool in 10th edition might be like a Reaper and a couple of Ball Predators. but who knows? But like, I am the biggest advocate of like running balanced lists. So 10th edition sounds really good to me. In that, like, I've always used Dreadnoughts in my Blood Angels. I've always used attack bikes or predators or battle predators. The Whirlwind is a much more recent addition, like, because of the stratagem that's really good. But I used to even use Devastators quite a lot, but that was like years and years ago. I guess I haven't used Devastators. I think I tried them a couple of times. Like, I used to have a bunch of Las Cannon Devastators and Plasmas and multi-melted Devastators. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm using Sternguard at the moment, which are like sort of pseudo Devastators, just because they're super cheap. Dirty Wizard says, I have 2 boxes of Blood Angels Terminators en route to Kish Bash the newer, bigger Terminators. Oh, Dirty Wizard, I can't wait to see that. That will be cool. Morgo, how you doing? I got 2 Dantes to paint in different schemes and 2 sets of dice. Nice. What schemes are you going for the 2 different Dantes? Juan says he won his 5th game in a row since he got the Devastation Marines. I do want to paint my Devastation Marines. I just had like an extra day off work the last 2 weeks because there was like bank holidays, and I did get a decent amount of painting in modelling done, but I just need more time, man. I hope standard intercessors are good. I like the new bolt rifle profile. I haven't even seen the new bolt rifle profile. They say they share that on Warhammer Community, Jacob. When was that? My plan tomorrow was to start digging through everything that released in the last week and start making my next 10th edition how-to guide video, or whatever you want to call them. Alright, so this list from Jasper. Good evening, Jasper. We've got Librarian Dreadnought with his shield and wings. Which is fine. It feels a little sad to not have Unleash Rage, because Unleash Rage is kind of the best power from the library, from the Sanguinary Discipline, but that's fine. We got a Chaplain. It's a Primaris Chaplain with Litany of Hate, Recantation of Focus, Master of Sanctity, Litany of Faith, the Vox of Spiritum, and the Wise Orator. So this guy's mainly here to buff shooting, I'm assuming. And we've got a Tech Marine that's Master of the Forge. We've got 1 squad of Assault Intercessors, Plasma Pistol and Thunderhammer and the Sergeant. Makes sense. We've got the Blade Guard Veterans, and this is the 6-man squad. I would be combat squadding these for sure. I think 3-man Blade Guard Veteran squads are pretty cool. We get the Company Champion with the Blade of Triumph. That's the 3 damage, strength 7, -3 sword. We've got Leviathan Dreadnought with Grab Flux and Drill and a couple of Volkites. We've got Redemptor Dreadnought with the Plasma, the Onslaught, the Stormbolters, and the Rocket Pods. We've got Contemptor with the twin Volkites. We've got 4-man Sangre Gold and All Infernals. We've got Terminator Lightning Claw Thunderhammers. A single attack bike with multi-melta. A Tornado with an Assault Cannon and multi-melta. And the Thunderstrike. Then an Eliminator Squad. Then a Gladiator Lancer. This is a very, very shooting list. This is so much shooting, I kind of am not liking it, actually. It just feels like maybe this is a bit more other chapters. The Lancer is fine, as sort of like an anti-tank platform. Last Fusel and Eliminators are also kind of fine. 1 attack bike and Tornado, I guess, are good, and they can do Relentless Assault. The Thunderstrike is okay, but it's a bit swingy. Then, I mean, there's 3 Dreadnoughts in there. I think it's maybe not feeling other chapters. I think the thing I just don't like is you've just got 4 units with jump packs. And I always say that I think Blood Angel's strongest trait or whatever is our speed. So if you just have 4 units with jump packs in the whole list, I'm not sure I love that. I've gone to tournaments with only like 15 jump pack guys, for example, like a 7 or 8 man. I think I went to one tournament where I had a 9-man Sangre Guard and like a 5-man Vanguard Veterans and a 5-man Death Company, and it felt like it felt like there was so much weight on those jump units to perform. Let me see what he says. So we're starting on 1 CP as well. I guess that doesn't really matter because we don't have a death company, so we're not going to be forlorn furying or anything like that. What troops do you think need an update? I don't know if any troops need an update. Chaplain and Terminate Armor. If you're running troops at the moment, like if you actually mean troops battlefield role, I would be going with Phobos troops. So that would be infiltrators or incursors. I think they're by far the best. I worry about the bike chaplain in 10th will be able to join and buff only bikes or outriders. I guess that's a good question, Margot. That's why I think that my captain on a bike with a Thunderhammer might be basically dead on arrival in 10th. I also made a Primaris captain on a bike with a Thunderhammer, which is a model that doesn't exist yet, because I thought we might get one and I wanted to have one and be able to get straight onto it. So who knows who can join what, I guess. The 3 bolt rifle profiles are being condensed into just a bolt rifle. It's 24 range, so they're giving it 1 AP. There's no advance -1 when advancing and shooting assault weapons now. Heavy is +1 to hit if you didn't move. Okay, interesting. So bolt rifles have got a lot better. Although they're not completely phasing out Firstborn, they're really trying to make them feel meh when they can, aren't they? That does make it sound like Intercessors will be better. I guess the question though for me is like, I don't think I would run Intercessors over Incursors because of the mobility and the utility, or Infiltrators, or even Assault Intercessors because Blood Angels do a lot more damage in melee. I guess until we know everything, right? Alright, Jasper said, thanks for the great show. I've watched for quite a while but never posted the list. He's been using Variant in his list for 6 months. I decided to stop running Marines with 2 wounds and no invulnerables. I suppose that, okay, I can understand that because that's Marines with 2 wounds and no invulnerables has been seriously nerfed, I guess. Throughout 9th, I always ran a minimum of 2 Dreadnoughts. This list has 4. This army is durable and does good damage at range and great damage in melee. I was going to say MA, I'm not sure what that means. Melee Assault, maybe high quality attacks from the Dreadnoughts. It would also be great for attack bikes, land speeders, storm speeder. Whirlwind of Range is equivalent. Alright, this is Successor, Master Artisans and Whirlwind of Rage. Okay, so he's taking Master Artisans to basically make his shooting more viable. Master Artisan is that one where you can reroll 1 hit, 1 wound, right? I don't think I've ever used it. Each time this unit is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 hit when resolving unit attacks. Okay, so basically, in the shooting phase or the combat phase, he can reroll 1 dice. It's good for his attack bikes, land speeders, the storms. Cool. Whirlwind of the Rage is equivalent to the Red Thirst +1 to wound, but it's better in this list given the high strength my units have. So when he does hit on 6s, he gets some extra hits. Okay. He also gets 2 or 3 extra hits with the Dreadnoughts because of exploding 6s. The Chaplain is very efficient at buffing at 95 points. I have no need of the Bite Chaplain, and he costs too much. Turn 1 and 2, I give +1 to hit to Redemptor or Relic Contemptor. 5 up against mortals, and then turn 2 on full rerolls in melee, which is devastating, and the auras are 9 inches, which is great. Librarian Dreadnought is amazing with Whirlwind of Rage and Master Artisan. I mean, the Librarian Dreadnought's biggest problem, I guess, is his shitty weapon. His shitty weapon skill, and arguably shitty ballistic skill as well. So Master Artisan, I guess, fixes that to an extent. I think Chief Librarian upgrade is bait. I just cast Wing each turn. If that goes off, great. Otherwise, I wait. I guess it depends if you want to double exploding 6s, because that's what you get with Unleash Rage. I take Shield and give it to my 1 unit without Invulnerable, the Redemptor. He even said Unleashes Rage is nice, but it's not shooted with a style. Once he casts Wings, he goes in and wrecks something important. Often I end up just using the Fight on Death for a devastating blow in the enemy's phase. The key value the Librarian Dreadnought brings is the Fear Factor. 18-inch move plus charge means it's realistically threat of 24 inches. Opponent find it awkward. and they play around it. Alright, the Chapter Champion is extremely effective for 60 points. He synergizes well with my Chapter tactic. I like both Assault Terminators and Blade Guard veterans, and I typically combat squad my Blade Guard. I said he should do that and keep one unit with the Terminators and Dreads in the center and another unit off to contest an objective. I love the Leviathan, Relic, Contemptor. Both are Blood Angel specific Forge World models and look awesome in red and gold. They do. I just haven't been using them that much for the last year or so. The Leviathan does big damage if ignored. It's a good distraction. The Volkite Tempter. The Volkite Contemptor still does a lot of damage, and it's 45 inches, and it can shoot out mortal wounds 45 inches away. There's still value in those Volkite Contemptors. I really think there is, and also they don't profile, so even on one wound remaining, they still hit on their 3-up ballistic skill. The Thunderstrike effectively targets enemy at mass range with 3 las cannons. And martial light, and it hits on 2s, so Master Artisan helps it hit even better. I start Terminators, Blade Guard, Leviathan, all deployed as far forward as possible. The Terminators and Blade Guard advance straight to the center. My plan is to send several units to the center and challenge for Oath, and then 2 units to engage a flank. I typically have the Sanguinary Guard in the back, obscured, screening a bit, and ready to countercharge. I do not have care if the opponent wants to reserve a deep strike. My army is tanky and ready to fight wherever. I plan to challenge opponents' primaries through the center. Score Oath banners, engage no prisoners. Librarian Dreadnought is pretty good at catching and killing characters. I've won quite a few games and I've enjoyed this list a lot. Do you know what? When you read all this out, he makes a lot of good points. It sounds a lot better than it probably is. I was not considering it's 4 Dreadnoughts because I saw the Leviathan, the Redemptor, and the Relic Contemptor down here, but there is a Librarian Dread there as well. Yeah, so it is 4 Dreadnoughts. It also has a Tech Marine, which is putting 3 wounds back a turn. Like you said, multiple units can get +1 to hit. I do wonder if you'd have been better just having a firstborn captain here. Like a cheap captain. Because a captain would give all your core reroll 1s. And you've got quite a bit of core, right? Like the Redemptor's core. The Relic Contemptor is core. I guess you could argue you don't need the reroll 1s because you get 1 reroll and you're giving a bunch of +1 to hit anyway. So, yeah, 50-50, I guess. +1 to hit with reroll 1 dice against reroll 1s for multiple units. I think it's potato. There's no real difference there. Okay. It's definitely an off-meta list. I think the Master Artisan is actually like a next level pick here. I hadn't considered it because you've got a bunch of stuff like the Lancer hits with its main cannon on 2s, so you get 2 shots hitting on 2s. You're going to get to reroll 1 of them. That's very accurate. You've got the Thunderstrike hitting on 2s. Again, you're going to have like 4 shots hitting on 2s. You're going to get reroll 1. Actually makes them very accurate. Eliminators again hitting on 2s. Reroll 1 of them. So like that's a really good pick. Actually, it's something that I hadn't seen before. Terminators and Blade Guard Combat Squad, it is nice. I just feel a little bit sad you only have 4 Sanguinary Guard, but I mean, the way you're using them sit in the backfield, they're a counter-charge unit. It's very interesting. I don't know if you can win a big tournament with a list like this, but I like it. Have you got anything that you felt was a weakness, Jaspers, to you in the chat? Any questions? Anything that you wanted help with? What you got CP wise? There's just 1 CP. Yeah, I don't know. What are you putting in reserve? Nuckin says looks like a fun list to play. It's definitely different. It's and sometimes it's nice to see someone thinking outside the box like this because there has definitely been I don't want to say it's boring, but there was definitely a situation there for a while where it was like Blood Angels lists every week on the Army List show. It was like 3 squads of Sanguinary Guard, 3 squads of Death Company, and no one wanted to play anything else. That's what it was during Armor of Contempt, and I hope that we don't ever have that situation again in 10th edition. Dirty Wizard says another bank holiday coming up in 2 weeks. If it's the King's coronation, I don't think I get that unless I take it out of my allowance. And I've used a lot of my holidays this year, Dirty Wizard, for like family time and stuff. So I would love to have the King's Coronation off and just paint models, but I don't think I get that. Thanks so much for hanging out tonight, Blood Angels, Chaplain, and Terminator Armor. Morgo says, I like the idea of this sort of list to maximise the new Codex Warfare, keeping Devastator with the heavy weapons and then place the Death Company or Sanguinary Guard in Assault. Yeah, and I mean, you could move forward in Doctrines once you've killed 5 units or whatnot. Mr. Cake Saint says that unless the old bolt gun gets a Glover. I think they showed the old bolt pistol, and a bolt pistol is still strength 4, AP01 damage. So unless the bolt gun is getting some love and the bolt pistol isn't, then I assume that maybe the new bolters for the Primaris are just much better. The 1st of May Day is a bank holiday. Okay, cool. May Day weekend. I mean, I'll get some painting done that day. I mean, I'm not going to be doing a live game this Wednesday night either. I'm just going to be painting. I think Colin was wanting to play, so maybe I'll play him next Wednesday. But I'm desperate. I'm needing to finish models. So I've got so much I want to finish. I just don't have the time. Wisdom of the Ancient is really good to remember if you're running lots of dreads. Yeah, I mean, Wisdom of the Ancient might be worth popping here, actually. The only thing is, obviously, it doesn't benefit the Leviathan Dreadnought. Having Leviathan with a Tech Marine is always good, though, I feel like. Because Leviathans are big distraction Carnifexes. I kind of want to just squeeze in Apothecary and more Terminators, but there's too many characters already. Yeah, I don't think... I don't think there's an option to change much here, honestly. The only thing I might consider changing is to lose the Landspeeder Tornado and just run 2 regular Landspeeders. Just because I think that the single attack bike isn't very durable, and running a Landspeeder gives you like 2 more wounds and 1 more toughness. You would lose a single assault cannon, but I think I'd probably be willing to lose the assault cannon to have a second Landspeeder. But then maybe it wouldn't. Because Landspeeders do just die in 1 round of shooting, so maybe it's fine. Maybe who cares? Yeah, it's an interesting list for sure. You're more than welcome to hobby along with me, Jason. I need like a day. Good afternoon, Dale. I need like a whole day hobby stream where I don't know though. Like my parent, it's just my mum. My dad isn't here anymore, but my mum doesn't take my kids very often. Not like for a whole day, and even if she did take the kids for the whole day, then my wife would want to do something. So I need like my wife to be busy and my mum to take my kids for a whole day, and it literally never happens. Yeah, no, this is cool. This is a cool list. I was negative when I read over the list, but having read your explanation, and I don't think I've ever run Successors in 9th edition. I never run a Successor list. I thought about it a bunch of times, but always just fell back on the main Blood Angels. Maybe I need to be more open to Successors, or whatever that may look like in 10th edition. I don't know what it looks like. Hey, Killer, good evening. But yeah, Jasper, that's interesting. I like it. I like seeing a list that just like breaks the mold, has been well thought out. There's a few, like, I wish that you had a squad of Incursors or Infiltrators. Over Assault Intercessors just for mobility. I suppose you could maybe run a Firstborn Tech Marine. I think that would save you the 5 points you need. That's about the only suggestion I've got. I think a Firstborn Tech Marine's actually 70 points. So you could save 15 and you could run a squad of Infiltrators. That's probably the one change I would make. Because I think that... how many points is Master of the Forge? Is the Primaris Tech Marine the same number of points as the Firstborn Tech Marine? I don't even know. This edition has been a bit wacky on the points cost, hasn't it? Primaris Tech Marine, Firstborn Tech Marine. They can't be the same cost, surely. Apparently this is not going to load tonight. Yeah, it's not going to load. Maybe it'll load up in a minute. All right, we're going to jump into Terrence's list. We'll come back to the last question that we've got on Jaspers List. Yeah, I'll have to see a list from you, Jasper, in 10th edition, see what you can come up with, because that one's really interesting. So, Primaris Tech Marine with more wounds and better ornaments than the Firstborn one are the same points costs. Of course they are. I guess the Firstborn one could take a combi weapon and a couple of servo harnesses and all this nonsense. Okay. Then I don't have a suggestion to make the list better. You played against a Votann list and you got wrecked. Votann do that, man. I think the way you beat Votann is that you have to obscure your whole army. If you can't beat them. If you can obscure most of your army, then you can wreck them so hard. They're like... You either absolutely wreck them, or you completely get destroyed by them. And I feel like there's almost no in between. It's a bit like playing Tau. It's going to go on terrain, and I guess... Well, we know that, like... Blood Angels aren't a shooting army. You've done some quirky thing here to make your army pretty cool in shooting. So I guess my thought would be, if you play against Votann, you're probably going to have a tough, and there's not much you can do about that. I played Votann, I think when Andrew was playing Votann on like a heavy terrain board, and Andrew got completely destroyed, and then I played him on a board that wasn't very heavy terrain, and I got completely destroyed. So Votann, it's just going to be who sees who and how much terrain there is. Alright, this list is from Terrence. Let's see what he's got. He's got Chaplain and Terminator Armor. We don't see that very often. Again, it's a buffing Chaplain with a combi melta. He's the Wise Orator. He's also got Canticle of Hate. He's got Dante, and there's the Warlord. He's got the Sanguinary Priest with the jump pack and the Selfless... He's got Chief Apothecary, but no Selfless Healer. Okay, that seems like a mistake. I don't know anyone that takes Chief Apothecary but doesn't do Selfless Healer. I feel like the reason to take Chief Apothecary is for Selfless Healer. It would cost 1 CP. Maybe we'll read his description afterwards. 2 Infiltrators with Helix Gauntlets, 5-man Blade Guard, 5-man Death Company, all Thunderhammers, Ancient with Rights of War and Wrath of Baal, 7 Sanguinary Guard, times 2, bunch of Infernal Pistols, Power Fists, etc. The Scout Squad, Sergeant with the Combi Melta and Quake Bolts and a Thunderhammer, a bunch of Scouts with Bolt Pistols and Combat Knives, and a Scout with a Heavy Bolter. Inceptors... How many Inceptors is that? I thought they were 60 points per model. That doesn't work. How many Inceptors is that? Am I being dumb here? I think he's got the Inceptors on the wrong points value. I think this should be 240. An Impulsor, and then a Landspeeder Storm, I guess, for the Scouts. What he said? So moving on from my 3 Reaper Tank Regiment, which was fun to play and I won majority of my games, I'm going back to traditional 1900 point speed because Battlescribe hasn't updated the plasma. Oh, right, okay. So basically these guys are 100 points more. I'll just change that. So, the game plan I used Inceptors to turn 2 deep strike with the Chaplain and give them +1 to wound, act as a suicide unit to take out a big threat. In some cases, even overcharging if I still have around 3 left, which is a bonus, and the rest of the army moves traditionally, utilizing the Ancient rather than Baal, lots of Power Fists, and that's the answer. So, yeah, I mean, he's got units for Relentless Assault. He's potentially got a unit or 2 maybe for Oath of Moment. He probably trades pretty well. You could possibly do data again with the Infiltrators. I really think you should spend the 1 CP for Selfless Healer. I think it would be dumb not to. Iron Hands will also trash your list. Yeah, I mean, Iron Hands will trash that list, right? But they will have fallen out of the meta Morgul because of the change to Codex Warfare, right? That basically limits where Iron Hands could get 15 points for that secondary, and they could probably get about 10 points in turn 1 and 2. That's now capped at 5. So I think Iron Hands will have a much tougher time scoring secondaries, and we won't see nearly as many of them. I mean, I could be wrong in that, but I think that we will see much less Iron Hands. I don't think the change to Codex Warfare will Iron Hands too much. Will it not? Because they literally scored 15 points for that, like, all the time. Right? Why will it not hurt them, Mike? Doesn't stop them hitting like a truck? Yeah, but if they can't... I mean, I again, playing Iron Hands comes down to terrain. Blood Angels can if the terrain is decent enough, we can usually do well enough. How will the Sanguinary Priest work in 10th with auras or without auras? I have no idea. War Thunder, that's going to be a good question. There's going to be so many videos I can make when 10th comes out. I'm probably going to have a list as long as my arm to do. I will make video after video, same as I always do. Might even try and make like shorter 5-minute videos and have like 2 releases a week for a little while, like to get people started into 10th edition. I don't really know what I'm going to do, but I'll cover everything, right? Like, I mean, that's my plan. The channel's not going anywhere. I was actually thinking back, like when 9th edition came out, I didn't even have this channel. Like, literally this channel was created like a week or 2 weeks after 9th edition came out, something like that. Warhammer 40k 9th edition release date. That's not useful. See, released July 2020, right? So Blood Angels Commander channel joined August the 1st, 2020. So, like, I didn't even have the channel when 9th edition came out. So, we're 1 edition old, I guess. But yeah, no, we'll cover everything. Because I'll need to know it, because I didn't win any tournaments in 9th edition. Oh, well, you know, that's a lie, I did. I won the team tournament, but Miles and Gav carried me. So, I won a team tournament in 9th, but I'd like to win a solo... I still want to win a solo tournament. I hope that the changes to Marines will give us a better chance to win a Codex tournament. My local Iron Hand player was happy, and he has moved on from Codex a few weeks ago, feeling the nerf. Fair enough. I'll ask Andrew about it. I'm not 100% sure on what Iron Hands are thinking now. Iron Hands will pivot to a different secondary and continue tabling most armies. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a little bit out of the deal of Arcs of Omen. The tournament I went to, there was actually no Iron Hands at the tournament. I don't know why. Maybe just people... There's also something to be said about just running a cheesy list, and I think Iron Hands are a bit... They are a bit cheesy at the moment, are they not? Or they were cheesy when they could score like 15 points from Codex Warfare in like 2 turns. It was a bit silly. Yeah, I mean, I guess this list is cool as well from Terrence. I would definitely get the Selfless Healer in there. The only other thing I can think of, and this is maybe a mad thing that we don't see very often. I was going to say, maybe it's too mad. I was going to say, could we mastercraft one of the plasmas that then Scepter Sergeant has? But maybe it's too random. Double infiltrators, the priest, the ancient. I mean, it's got a lot of tools, this list. It maybe suffers a little bit from like durable models in that you've just got like the Blade Guard and the Impulsor. it maybe suffers a bit at shooting as well. Like if you came up against, it might struggle into like World Eaters. And obviously, I guess, like we said earlier in the stream, if you play Votan, it's going to come down to terrain. I did have a conversation about this on my stream the other night, saying that I do think that maybe one of the best, because Games Workshop are like looking at a lot of they're looking at a lot of tournament data like worldwide, right? And they're like getting these win rates, and that's what they use for the MetaWatch article. The last MetaWatch article was out last week. The thing that makes me question is like maybe they should start unifying or normalizing terrain. Because if terrain is so variant as it is at the moment, it's very difficult to take all that tournament data and get like really good reads from it. Could take 2 or 3 Sanguinary Guard per squad away and add a whole unit or a tank. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could take 2 Sanguinary Guard out of each squad and add like you could even add a 4-man Sanguinary Guard. It wouldn't be the worst idea here in the world, would it? What about Gladiator Reaper? Yeah, maybe actually if this was me, I would lose 2 Sanguinary Guard out of each squad. That's 120 points. I would lose 1 in Scepter. That's 60 points. That gives me 180. So I can put a Gladiator Reaper in. I could put in my 6th Blade Guard Veteran. So I could add a Reaper, my 6th Blade Guard Veteran, then I just need 5 more points. So I'll swap out 1 Infiltrator Squad for Intercessors. And there you go. That's what I would change. I think 5-man Sanguinary Guard squads are fine right now if you've got lots of Infernal Pistols and stuff like that. They literally go in and then they die. They never survive. They literally never survive. So, like, if you know all the models are going to die, is there any reason to have 7 over 5? The only reason to do that is to say, like, well, I need a bit more damage, or I want to do a bit more damage. But I guess for me, I haven't been feeling that they need to do more damage all that often. But then, I mean, I'm running 5 Infernal Pistols, so usually it means like you shoot 5 Infernal Pistols, usually do some damage, and then you go in with like 25 sword attacks, usually do some good damage, and 5 feel like it's fine, right? I hope the Reaper gets sustained hits and devastating wounds. Yeah, I don't know what the Reaper will be getting. I hope we get a Baal Reaper, Highland Phoenix. It's basically just the same, but a Blood Angel's version of the Reaper. Maybe it looks exactly the same and everything. It just gets some extra rules. How cool would that be? Jason says can't seem to find the Gladiator boxes in the States right now. That's what I was trying to say, Jason. Like, I think this is a time where you just need to grab everything and anything and get it painted up. I did a video a few weeks back, and that's how we're going to end tonight's stream, actually. I was going to say, let me see if I can quickly pull that video up. Or pull up my slides that I made for that video. If I search 10th, I've only done 3 videos on 10th edition, so... Yeah, I think it was the video that I said, preparing for 10th edition, right? Units that I think you should hurry and get done, if you haven't got them done right now, are Incursors, Infiltrators, Aggressors, Blade Guards, the Dreadnoughts. I even said do your Reavers. I'm probably going to deprioritize my Reavers. Get your Terminators done, even Tactical War Suits. I don't own any Tactical War Suits, but... do you know what? It's funny, I said Storm Speeders might be valuable before we saw that they've gone from toughness 6 to toughness 9. So I think Storm Speeders at toughness 9, if regular Land Speeders stay at toughness 6, and like if a Storm Speeder still costs twice a regular Land Speeder, then Storm Speeders have got a hell of a lot better. Outriders, Reapers, Ball Predators, Desolation Marines seem to be... Lots of people are using these now, saying they're really good. Chaplain on a Bike might not be that important, because like people have said, he might not be able to join the right squads, so he might be lesser value. Librarian Dreadnought might be huge, but I don't know anything. And then suppressors and land raiders again. I'm maybe just hopeful on these. But yeah, if you've got models to get finished for 10, like it's go, go, go. I've been doing more hobbying every spare minute I have. Like earlier tonight, I was like putting some texture paint on some of my guys' bases and all sorts. There's lots to do, and 10th is probably going to change everything, guys. So, yeah, if you enjoyed tonight's stream, please hit the like button. We got 15 new members in tonight's stream. That's crazy. I appreciate all the gifted subs for sure and the super chats. Thank you so much. Like I said, well, we're still doing our 9th edition army list show. That'll continue for a while. Right as I said that, my daughter literally sat up in bed. I was just randomly looking at the baby monitor. So that's a perfect time for me to peace out and go put her back to sleep. I will catch you guys at some point this week, I'm sure, with a new video. Thank you again so much for watching. Hope you have a great Sunday night. Catch you guys next time then. Peace.